Thank you for coming. Just to introduce myself, my name is Jamie, and yes, I'm a CEO. But most importantly, I'm a girl dad. Wow! So there's a lot of ladies in here. So first question I have is, how many other girl dads out there are there out there? Oh, that's a lot. All right. So to keep the women involved, how many of you have at least one sister? Okay. All right. So you're gonna get my story. So I have I have 4 daughters.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you. You feel my pain. I look so young. And so when we set out to kick off the Konnect AI platform, I had the brilliant idea of wanting to name the persona after one of my daughters. 4 daughters, one persona. So it seemed pretty brilliant at the time. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, now I got to pick a favorite person. So I did what any other, smart dad would do. I just said, I'm going to stay the heck out of it, and I'm going to let my girls duke it out. And Sophie was the winner. So, so now our bot has a name, and I have peace at my house. So that's a great thing. But the point is really this: as we really integrate AI into HR, the HR space is still a very deeply human area, and we want to make sure it stays that way. And I experienced this personally when I worked as the head of HR at places like Chipotle. Actually, it wasn't the head of HR; it was the VP of HR. So, quick little correction on that. But the head of HR at Forever 21. I worked in healthcare at UCI Medical Center. So I really learned a lot from there. And it really just gave me some experiences to really focus on how do I make sure I keep HR human as much as possible. And this morning I'm here with Adit, and we're both in the same space. And even though we come at this at different angles, we actually have the same thing in mind. And that's we want to make sure that we're keeping HR human. And we're really focused on elevating talent, raising the bar on talent so that people can do what they do best. And so we're going to talk about that today. How do you keep HR human in an AI environment? So, Adit.
Yeah. 4 girls. Whew.
Feel for me?
I can barely handle one while dating. So, quick introduction. Co-founder, CEO of Leena AI. For people who don't know about us, we build AI colleagues for the back office. Been doing this for the last 8 odd years. I'm an engineer by background, so I love coding. I love building things. And the reason Jamie and I are a great partnership is because I'm the technologist and he's the HR guru and the HR brain. And I think he grounds me when I go off the rails and say, hey, AI is going to take all jobs away. I think he grounds me and keeps me near to earth. But quick introduction about the company. So our vision is to automate away all repetitive work that happens in the back office, including HR. So think about things that are mundane, people have to keep doing like day in, day out, 80% of their day. We believe AI is already at a point where it can integrate with your systems and can actually automate that away so you can focus on what humans should do, which is actually interact with people, make them win, make them more, improve their performance, keep them growing, etc. So we've raised around 60 million as a company, 60, Bessemer, Greycroft. We are a Y Combinator company. So in this conversation, I'm going to be the tech geek and he's going to be the HR guru. So that's how we're placing it. We've already talked about this, so I'm going to skip. Now, every conversation that I have with CIOs, CHROs, CFOs, one of the biggest thing is, hey, what's possible today? Because I think the meaning of AI colleagues or the meaning of agentic AI is so different for everybody in this audience, right? And I want to first ground our conversation into an understanding of, hey, who thinks that they're a complete expert on agentic AI? Hands up, real quick. Experts. Okay, I've got 2. I'm getting a hang of it. Okay, 15%. I'm going up a learning curve. It's fairly new to me. Okay, couple hands, and I'm a complete novice. A couple of hands again. So most of us are in the C and D, which is I'm going up a learning curve and I'm getting the hang of it. Great. So before we get into the conversation of how to keep HR human in the time of agentic AI and AI colleagues, I'd love to start the conversation off by actually grounding you in what is already technologically possible. I'm going to make a phone call to my AI colleague right now in front of you and show you what's already in production in a lot of enterprise customers of ours and generally in the industry. Let me just make a phone call real quick.
Hello, Adit. How can I help you?
Hey, I have an unexpected car repair of around $3,000 come up. Can you tell me from a net pay perspective, how many months of salary will I need to be able to pay that back from my net pay?
I understand. Let me help with that. Just to make sure I got this right. You want to know, based on your net pay, that's the amount you take home after all deductions, how many months of your salary it would take to cover that unexpected $3,000 car repair. If that sounds good, I can go ahead and calculate it for you using your latest net pay info. Should I continue?
Yes, please go ahead.
Great. Checking that now. All right, here's the scoop. Your net pay for February 2026 was about $1,866.30. So, to cover that $3,000 car repair, it would take roughly 1.6 months of your take home pay. If you want me to break it down more or go over any details, just say the word.
No, I'm good. You were calling me earlier to set me up on interviews. So, can you help me do that? What do I got to do to set the interviews up?
Perfect. Let me get that for you. All right, to get your interview scheduled, I'll first pull up your outstanding interview requests. Basically, the candidates waiting for their interviews to be set. If you want me to use a different hiring manager instead of you, just say so. Otherwise, I'll go ahead with your employee ID. Sound good?
Yeah, do it.
Great, checking that now. I'm pulling up your outstanding interview requests now to see which candidates are waiting for their interviews to be scheduled. Here's what I found. You've got 2 interview requests waiting. Valerie Kramer for Marketing Manager and Matt Spencer for QA Engineer. Valerie's at the interview panel stage and Matt's at the phone screen stage. Want to go ahead and schedule interviews for them?
Yes, please.
Great, checking that now. Here's the default setup for the interviews. Each one lasts 30 minutes, scheduled on business days, Monday through Friday, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., starting from the next business day. Want to change any of that, like the duration, days, or time range? Or should I go ahead with this plan?
Go right ahead.
Great, checking that now. Bear with me. I'm on it. Still going. Thanks for waiting. Still working. Hang tight. I checked your calendar for 30-minute interview slots starting next business day, March 24th, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. But there was a technical hiccup with the calendar check, so I've escalated it to get it fixed. You'll be notified once it's sorted. Meanwhile, if you need anything else, just let me know.
Perfect. I think that's it. Thank you. Bye-bye. So if you look at what's possible today, it's already looking at multiple applications. It went into Workday, it went into my calendar, it went into so many different enterprise applications. And it's able to stitch together a complex business process and deliver it for you so that you can get away from the manual work that you do every single day. And you know how it is being built right now? AI has become so powerful that you can, like, this is a screenshot of different AI colleagues I put up together. So you see Gerard, the Jira specialist, you see the HR operations analyst, you see the recruitment operations analyst. The recruitment operation analyst is the one I was talking to in the second half, right? And it was able to even gracefully handle errors. Yes, sometimes integrations are not going to work out, and it is able to handle them and escalate them to a human whenever it needs help. So now I will actually give you a screenshot of the entire business process. This business process is written in English language. It is written by an expert in the in your companies. Think about an expert in the recruitment team. They can actually write this in English, literally simple English, by using the skills available from Google Calendar, from Outlook Calendar, from Workday, etc. They can themselves create it, update this, and manage it as well. So now what we are saying is essentially people who are running a bunch of people who are running a single business process, they can actually start creating these AI colleagues and use these AI colleagues and manage these AI colleagues to improve their efficiency and productivity on things that are literally the same business process running every single day again and again. And that's what is already in production for 500 plus customers of ours, our joint customers as well, where Jamie has done change management, has done all of the real hard work apart from the technology. And that's why the relevance of this conversation today is so high. With that, I'll give it to Jamie.
All right. That was
Take it
cool.
away.
Thank you. So which button do I push? The green one? All right, thank you. So of course, I'm like, that's a cool shiny object, really cool. But from an HR perspective, what does that actually mean? Because now we got to get this to be integrated into our teams, and we run into a whole slew of issues. So I love being at an HR conference. We're not at a IT conference, so the conversation completely changes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about where are we today? What are some of the challenges that HR professionals are facing? And when we think about the headline that we started with, keeping HR human, how do you actually keep HR human when integrating these very cool AI colleagues or Konnect AI, which is a different approach to how things are being done? How do you do that in an effective way? And so what we see is that there's a lot of tools that are being thrown at HR professionals. I mean, walk down the hall here and you just see a whole bunch of things. And it's for scheduling, it's for recruitment, it's for offboarding, onboarding, employee experience, all kinds of things. And it's like, where do I even start? And so one of the things that we see that HR leaders are running into an issue with is they're starting with the tool and looking at the tool versus looking at how do I really look at the culture, and then how do I integrate the tool into my culture? And so what you're going to hear me continually say is you got to start with the leadership. You got to start with culture, because, and you're not going to hear this from someone like Adit, which is why it's a great partnership, because you got to put your mindset in the right place. Because when we think about all the things that happen when you're...
What do you mean you don't start with technology first?
See, there you go. You should hear our debates when we're on Zooms and everything. It gets pretty heated. So we want to really look at how do you actually have AI adopted into the culture. And so again, you cannot automate leadership. And so everything that we're doing, the mindset that I encourage you to look at this at is how do you first look at all the roles and all the different aspects of what you can actually automate. And they're the repetitive tasks, the things that normally probably like a coordinator does, whether it be an HR coordinator, benefits coordinator, kind of go down the list, and figure out how you can automate that. And then how do you then upskill those coordinators into different roles and make it in a way that they're excited about it and they want to do something that is effective and they want to be part of what's happening. Because like you see here, culture drives AI adoption. And if you're not looking at culture, then you're not going to get that trust that we need. And we've seen this time and time again. Just put AI aside. You don't really you throw any tool at an employee workforce and adoption's super hard. We all know that. And so throw AI at them. If you don't build a trust and credibility ahead of time, they're not going to adopt the tool and the whole thing's going to fail. I feel like Adit wants to say something because you picked up your microphone.
So I think it's a very interesting time overall. So Claude Code, how many of, or Claude Cowork or Claude, how many of us have played with it, right? I've definitely seen a different thing happening. You're absolutely right, but I've seen a different thing happening. So what we did is recently, around a month ago, so Claude Opus 4.5 completely changed the game for people who've used it. And I saw that the technology was so good that it actually pulled people to upskill and reskill, and like they just are operating at a different level. I'll give you an example. One of our customer success managers working with the Fortune 100, took a dump of all of their tickets, ran it through Claude Code, and came up with advice on, hey, and all the conversations that Leena was processing on voice and on chat, like literally took a dump of that, made sure that there's no PI, etc., and then threw it into Claude Code, and it was able to find out, hey, these are next 3 areas you should automate because Leena is not able to handle them, like right there and then. And for Claude, I have seen it flip a little, where if the technology is so damn good, people adopt it as well. So that's something to keep in mind, while what Jamie's saying is absolutely true.
He loves Claude. He showed me yesterday when we met before this meeting, check out this Claude thing. I'm like, what is that? So what agentic AI changes for HR, it does change a lot. So when you look at this, again, what I just said, it changes how we do things from a speed perspective, but it doesn't change what we are trying to accomplish when it comes to HR. So that's a really key takeaway, is think about how do you take yet another tool and figure out how it can interact with your employee population in a way that is trustworthy, it's effective. It's one that they're gonna want to embrace. And we're gonna talk about some examples for some clients that we've rolled this out to. We've had some hardships with that, where it's like, hey, this is a really cool tool, and we think that the younger population is gonna embrace it because they're young and they like to be on their phone every day watching TikTok, and then, I got to go onto this AI tool, but they don't. And so it's like, how do you get that to happen? And it's all through building trust, making sure you're listening, taking that threat away so that people don't think that their jobs are going away. And then they're going to really jump on this new tool. They're going to see it as something great, and they're going to totally embrace it. And change management, that last bullet there, I cannot say enough about change management. And that's really thinking about, how do you, again, listen to your employee population, know your employee population. When you're getting pressure from your board, from your CEOs, from your executives, you're competing with IT to get to the RFP on an AI tool, and who's going to lead this, and how are you going to implement it, and what's the whole structure going to be? You got to stay front and center of that, because you're the experts in culture, you're the experts in your people, and that's the only way you're going to get this to be embraced. So where HR teams are feeling pressure, we see this show up in all 3 of these areas. So it's operational, it's strategic, and it's cultural. So operational pressure, it's like, you got to do things faster. So stop being so slow. Hey, we're shifting our business. We have this new product launch. We have these new things we're trying to accomplish. That's me as the CEO. And HR, you got to do your thing. So you get this pressure to operationalize things as much as possible and to do it for cheaper. So how do you save money? How do you do it in a way that you're going to save costs? The strategic pressure, it's all around like, okay, now how are you going to make this work strategically from an AI strategy perspective? So I have a whole AI strategy. I'm CEO again. I have a whole AR strategy, and we want it in finance. We want it in HR. We want it in procurement. We want it in all these other areas. And so how do you make that work? You want to say something about that?
AI everywhere.
Say what?
AI everywhere.
Oh, okay, AI everywhere. There he goes again. So you got to make sure you're front and center when it comes to setting that strategy. And the cultural pressure, that's all about trust. How are we integrating this into the culture that we're trying to influence, not establish and drive, but influence? And how do we do that in a way that's going to drive that trust, so that the culture continues to be what your company has and what you're trying to reinforce?
I think one other point I'd like to add here is agility. Apart from operational, pressures and all of that, as a CEO, I understand today that using AI in everything we do is just competitive advantage. If my product teams can work 2x faster than my competitor using AI, then I got to use AI, right? It's so, and here's a thought exercise, right? Like we have around 500 enterprise customers. We have a we have our own support desk where our customers can send in tickets. So when they're not able to figure things out, they send us a ticket, right? It's staffed by around, I think, 15 to 20 odd people right now. And like, if you ask me, I spend $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever it is, on that help desk today, like people. Now, if you were to say to me that, hey, Adit, are you ready to spend $5 million? That's 3 times more what I'm spending right now. Are you ready to spend $5 million if I guarantee you that all the tickets coming in will get automatically solved in less than 5 minutes? My answer will be yes, this resounding yes. So it's not about just saving money. It's not about operational efficiency. It is about agility. If I can get back to my customer and like solve their problem in less than 5 minutes, I'd pay more. I won't even talk about cost saving at all. I'd pay more. I'd pay triple the amount I'm paying right now because I want them happy. I want them to love Leena. I want them to go to LinkedIn and say, hey, you know what? I raised this ticket and these guys, they use their own AI and they're the best, right? So it's not always about like cost saving and operational. It's also about agility of doing business. And that's going to give you long-term competitive advantage in the marketplace you are in.
Absolutely. So I want to throw a couple stats at you just to kind of ground this conversation we were talking about. So there's some SHRM percentages and there's some Gartner percentage. So this says 77% of roles are specialized, creating silos and increasing operational complexity. And that's from Gartner. And this just goes to the repetitive tasks, how difficult it is to take a role or a set of roles and figure out how you can use agentic AI into that process flow. And you got to think about the impact that it's going to have on the people that are in those roles. Then from SHRM, they say 75% of leaders say AI will increase the value of human judgment. So that's an interesting one. If you think about it, it's okay. So now the HR person has an opportunity to really get away from the transactional work that gets done every day, because it's such a distraction. It's that work that you don't want to get involved with, but you have to get involved with. So if you remove that and allow yourself to work at a different level, raise the bar on what you're doing, then you're really going to get a chance to make judgment calls, decisions in a much better way. And clearly HR people believe that from what SHRM is saying. And 70% of organizations face employee resistance or trust challenges. So going back to what I was saying earlier, resistance, adoption is super difficult if you don't have the focus on change management and how you're going to actually get employees to believe in what you're trying to accomplish. Because if you have that missing, it's not going to work. So here are just some quick bullets that I want to make sure that we really hone in on. The first 3 really are around trust. And you keep hearing me say that, and it's for a reason. We got to build trust. So some of the common things that employers are facing is there's employees that have fear that AI is going to replace their HR roles. So Adit and I host a lot of different dinners together, and we listen to what HR leaders have to say. And they're leaders that have already implemented AI, and they're leaders that are trying to figure out how to make it happen. And these are the things that we see. And they're not only saying that I have employees that are in my own team that are worried about what's going to happen to my job as an HR coordinator or processor or whatever, but HR leaders are actually worried about their job as well. It's like, what's going to happen to me? So if I look at my team and I have 20 employees and now I'm going to be cut down to like 15 or 10, am I going to be looked at the same way? Because in some aspects, headcount kind of counts when it comes to in CEOs and executives' minds. And so there's this fear of, well, my job's getting watered down and it's going to be viewed as HR can just be given to AI. So what's the value that I'm actually going to have? So there's that big fear. Employee resistance to AI tools goes in the same thing. Uncertainty about which technology to trust. It's like, again, there's so many out there, and which one's actually going to work? Can I just use my ChatGPT, or what's the one you used again? The guy with the C? Yeah, the Claude. See, I don't even know. I haven't even used it personally.
Leena AI.
and there's HRIS vendors claiming they already have AI in their system. So this is an interesting one. I saw a couple head shake right now. So yeah, our experience has been that it just scratches the surface. not to knock any HRIS people that might be out there. So I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just sharing the feedback of what we see. And so the great thing about Konnect AI and Leena AI is that it really takes things to the next level to really help integrate many different tools into one platform so that it's not just siloed into one area. But that's one of the major things we hear. And the last one is policy documentation that is outdated and inconsistent. This is huge as well. It's like, okay, I understand the concept of knowledge base. So if I'm going to implement AI, I need to make sure that the AI tool is actually reading and pulling the right data. And what's the right data? Oh, it's looking at my handbook. It's looking at my policies. It's looking at my SOPs. And it's like, I can't do that right now because we haven't touched that in 2 or 3 years. We've had so many other things that we're working on. And so that's one thing that we see as a huge red flag or, a resistance to what we're talking about. And the solve for that is don't let perfect get in the way of great. And, you can start and kick things off. And literally instantly, when you update a policy, you update a handbook, you drop it into the knowledge base and it instantly updates what the bot's going to say. So that shouldn't be something that really holds people back. But those are the things that we're hearing. Anything you want to add?
Absolutely. I think one of the other things that we also always talk about is this build versus buy. I think IT teams love building, right? And I am always in favor of you trying it out, because if you don't try out and build using all of these APIs like OpenAI, Claude, Gemini available, you will not understand how hard it is to actually put everything together. Maybe I have a slide on it later, but it's like really a lot of work where you will end up spending 2 years to come to what is available today in the market and live with people. And then you'll be like, hey, this is already old. And people have very like goldfish memories. They're like, they won't remember that they decided to build in the first place. Yeah, and suddenly it'll come to you on why are you behind? And this always happen, and I do it too. So I'm guilty myself. And then I realized that's the big. Once I went through these cycles internally at Leena, we're around 300 people, so we're probably not as large as some other organizations here. But we went through these things a couple of times ourselves, and then we have a very strong buy stance. If somebody has been doing this for a few years, you just take their APIs and integrate with your stack. I think that's the biggest learning I've had personally as a CEO. But how to navigate those conversations, we do it day in, day out. We have 500 odd customers, so happy to have those conversations. I think there's a question on the session. We can take them up then as well. Yeah.
Actually, that's a great plug. So thank you. We're going there next.
Perfect.
So what we're going to do is we laid out a few questions that we get a lot, and Adit and I are going to take a crack at answering them. So you can kind of hear what the dialogue is. But I also want to advertise we're going to ask you all questions. So if you want to be thinking about questions that you have for us, we're going to have, 15, 20 minutes at the end of this for you to ask us those questions. So we'll have a mic runner. So if you have any questions, jot those down and we'll be more than happy to take those live. So one of the questions that we get a lot is, what does the rise of AI and agentic systems actually mean for HR leaders right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jamie, you kind of covered this earlier, but the first thing I'd like to say is things and the way of working has already changed. A lot of people think I'm crazy when I say this, but I'll give you an example. I had a weekend, I had a full weekend available like this weekend. I literally coded a new pricing calculator because we're going through this change in our business where we used to be on a per employee per year model. And now we're going towards a token per employee per year, like platform fees plus consumption model as customers keep building out more and more AI colleagues. So they're running down like crazy amounts of consumption on token usage on our end. So we're like, hey, we've got to shift our pricing. And our AEs and SCs, they just went crazy. They were like, hey, what is happening? What is Adit doing? He's gone crazy. And he's making us, put in these new proposals, which we don't understand. So, to solve all of that, I actually, in less than 4 hours, I built out an AI colleague, which is a pricing AI colleague, which helps my AEs and SEs actually create the proposal right there and then. So they just put in, hey, I'm talking to Estee Lauder. Like Estee Lauder is a customer of ours. And they want like these 4 new use cases. They're already a customer, but they want these 4 new use cases. How do I price this out? And boom, they get the answer, right? Like the entire proposal in PDF created. And I did this, right? Now, a little about me. I used to code a lot. There's still like 2% of code that I have in our code base. But with AI and what's happening right now, especially after Claude, I am pushing things into production again, right? Like we're a sizable organization, going to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, and I am pushing things into production. So I think where this conversation starts is by all of us here in the room agreeing to a truth that yes, the way of working has indeed changed. The problem I have when I talk to so many CHROs, CIOs, CFOs, CEOs is sometimes they're like, but how will it affect my business? I'm still banking, I'm still manufacturing, I'm still pharma. How does it change? It fundamentally disrupts how you were built. It fundamentally will change your EBITDA. It will fundamentally change your revenue per employee. It will change your profit margins. Now you don't want to be caught up in a time where 3 years later, one of your competitors, maybe one of those incumbents in your fields, has gone ahead and moved on to this agentic operating model, and they have 3% more profit margins than you have. You will get killed in front of the analysts, right? So I think just saying that, yes, fundamentally the way of doing business has changed is one of the biggest starting points. And then we can talk about change management, adoption, looking at our processes, looking at our people and our technology at the last. But it has to come with all of your leaders in the room, all of your board members. I'm sure your board members are already gung-ho about AI, but it is about all the leaders coming together and saying, yes, the way of doing business has fundamentally changed, and we got to start thinking about it.
Who remembers, ooh, that was loud. Who remembers when we used to call HR personnel? Yeah, exactly. And then we went from what? From personnel to human resources to people experience. I don't know what the heck we're calling ourselves now. So
performance is the
there
new
you
one.
go.
Performance experts.
So
Yeah.
I think it's now modern HR. That's what I think. And because I think that modern HR is really the combination between people and technology. And so how do you really get there? And so that's what Konnect built our whole model around. And so that's what I think is changing for HR people. And that was a great, I agree with you 100%. And this is an opportunity for HR leaders and teams to really step up and really be part of that conversation around strategy and culture with executive leadership, and to really take the reins on for implementing technology into your organization. And so, we've been stuck in this a lot of times in this little space of, oh, you guys are the party planners. You guys are the ones that do X, Y, and Z, just really minimizing what HR people actually do. So this is a really good opportunity to come with a strategy, come with something that's, I want to help change and shift the culture through getting the objectives that the CEO and the leadership are trying to get, that you as ELT are trying to accomplish. And I'm going to do it through people, because we always say our people are my number one asset. And it's like, all right, well, live it then if that's what you really think. So to me, as an HR person, that's what I think is really changing.
I fully agree. So if you look at the percentage of HR leaders that became CEOs, what do you think that percentage would be? Less than 10%? Less than 5? It's less than 0.5%. And that's the truth. And I think it's a very big opportunity, Jamie. I think it's an incredibly big opportunity. It's the same for CFOs, CIOs, and CHROs at this point, I'd say. But people in the room, if you can drive this change into the new operating model, which talks about higher revenue per employee, higher profitability per employee, EBITDA per employee, I promise you, the probability of HR leaders becoming CEOs will go through the roof. Because just being able to do that requires thinking through the entire business, from revenue till revenue recognition, all of it, like bottom line, top line, everything. So this is a very, very big opportunity.
Absolutely.
I can't show you, but it is an immense opportunity for everybody in this room to be able to understand this, adopt this, drive in your own organization. And I promise you, you can become, if you want to, you can become CEOs of your businesses too.
And we're actually seeing that. I don't remember the stat, but I saw something come out from SHRM or some study, maybe it was Gartner, that said what the percentage of CHROs are moving into the ranks of CEOs. So anyone know
I think Leena Nair is one big example.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any others? No? Okay. Love the plug. All right. So another question we get a lot. There is a lot of hype around AI replacing jobs. What is the reality for HR teams? He smiles.
So we have a part of the customers that work with us. So we have like Coca-Cola, Sony, Puma, Vodafone, Nestle, P&G, Estée Lauder, some really large Fortune 500s working with us across the globe. Now, here's a reality. I'm not naming any one of them, but here's the reality. On an average, our customers do find our most common AI colleagues are the HR operations and the IT operations AI colleagues, right? They help reduce tickets coming into your help desk, be it ServiceNow, Jira, whatever you use, right? So in those business processes where customers use us integrated on top of Workday, success factors, ADP, etc., we see like 60% reduction in tickets that come into those help desks, 60, 70%. Now that does mean on an average a 40% reduction in the people in those business processes. Now, it's not all bad because those 40% people, they get trained to become AI colleague managers. So if you remember the second example I was working through where it was trying to schedule me on looking my Google Calendar and Workday, it said that, hey, I'm facing some challenges with the Google Calendar integration. Let me go back to my human manager and get this fixed or looked at. Now that person is also your best employee in the recruitment business process, right? So here's what we're doing with our customers. 20% of the displaced audience actually gets upskilled and reskilled back into the same business process as a human manager for the AI colleague. Their job is to spot check, run evals. I know all of these terms might sound like very new and scary, but they're pretty easy. So once you do a simple certification, it's very easy. So they're responsible for doing evals, creating the business process. I showed you the English written business process. So they create it, they manage it, they maintain it, they improve it, and keep making the AI colleague get better and better and better. So 20% of the displaced workforce gets back into the business process at a higher dollar per hour rate, and the rest, can be consumed in other parts of the business. So that's a reality of what's happening in some of our customers where we already see it. But I think what our customers are doing really, really well is, upfront telling people that, hey, the point of this exercise is not to let go of people, but to use people and their time in higher value jobs. And they do a good job of replacing them into better roles as well.
Very well said. I would just add, I do see some replacement of jobs from some clients that come to us. And that's just the harsh reality of it. It's not that that's something that we're designing for that to happen, but you do have CEOs that are coming saying, you know what, I'm trying to decide between going for an HR team versus, doing some automation. So the immediate answer is, it's not a one size fits all. You got to figure out a way to take that automation, make it more streamlined, and you still need an HR leader. You still need someone that's thinking strategically. You still need someone that is really going to be that heart and soul of the organization within HR to talk to employees and deal with employee issues, talk about talent management, talk about performance, think about how you're going to strategize on learning. And so on learning, I think this is a really good opportunity for the L&D people in the room. How many L&D people do we have in the room? Well, you're quiet. Usually you're the ones that are like, woo, woo. There's like 3. So, okay. So usually it's like, it's a good time for you to talk about how can we reskill, upskill HR professionals so that they can do things in a different way. And then once you learn how to unlock that, in my opinion, then you can figure out how to get it implemented into finance, IT, procurement, and the rest of the organization because you've learned from your own experience. Because you know what your team looks like and you can take that learning and take it to other areas of the business to really help with that upskilling and moving around of different responsibilities. Where are you seeing AI make the biggest impact inside HR today?
Feels like you make me answer all the you go first.
Hey, you know what? I'm like, I want to see what you're going to say, and then I can kind of like take my own twist at it. So
no, this time around, I'll go second. You go first.
So I don't want to be repetitive, but it kind of is a repetitive thing right now. So I think we're getting this in our minds. Where we're seeing it really happen is in all the transactional work that you have. But I want to show you later when we get a couple slides down. I also have a voice demonstration that we're going to do. And you can integrate that in with employee relations and different functions to really figure out how can you take the transactional steps in something like employee relations and use that to do an intake of information, and then you can do the human part of looking into the situation, talking to the people, closing the case, and then you move on. So the biggest place where there's impact, in my opinion, is where you have transactional work. So that's HR coordination, benefits coordination, recruitment coordination. Then you have payroll support for any of those that are stuck with, get payroll as part of your department. Hopefully I didn't offend any payroll people in here. So, also within payroll, when people are asking for can I get a copy of my pay stub? Can I, what are my PTO hours? All those redundant questions that you get that a tool can answer, you can kick it to them being the AI tool.
Absolutely. I think another big area that we see a lot of work inside HR is recruitment for sure. Like it's just absolutely changed. Like you can get 10,000 CVs and or resumes, and AI will be able to get you the best ones, like top 100 in like minutes. So that has just scaled so much because the ability for AI to read PDFs is all-time high right now. If you use Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, you upload 20 of them, it will be able to go through this. And if you kind of do some work on Claude Code, as I was mentioning again, like people in this room, you can actually go back, like right now, I'm not joking. And even if one of you does it, I have a win. So I'm going to say it anyway. Go back, download Claude Code. If you have the paid subscription, great. If you don't, just take it. And it's $20, right? Just take it and say to it, I want to build a automated recruiter. And just stay with it for 2 hours. And I promise you, you will have taken your entire ATS and whatever automation you've built, and you will have built something that is 10x better, if not more, in 2 hours. I promise you. So even if one of you does it, it'll be a win. So I think bigger impacts are seen across HR ops, recruitment, everything that has a lot of the same titles doing the same work every single day. That is where you'll see the most impact, and that's what we are seeing as well. Again, the idea is not to replace those people. The idea is to scale them to do so much better things with their time. So
yeah, I want to give an example. I was just thinking while he was talking. I was paying attention though, I promise. One of our clients is actually Rubio's Coastal Grill. And for anyone in California, Arizona, you probably heard of it. They have, I believe, 85 locations in 3 states. So think about the workforce. So it's a restaurant. They're non-exempt employees mostly because they're in a restaurant. Then you have corporate support, RSC, and that's based out of California. And then there's multiple languages. There's some Spanish-speaking only employees, the cooks and people in the back, and then you have English-speaking as well. So you pretty much get it all when you think about the employee demographic. And the way that we implemented AI into that workplace, it took us a while to figure out how we're going to reach these employees, because you got to think about, okay, how do I reach the cooks? And how do I reach the people that are not in front of a computer every day in a corporate office? How does that work? And so one of the great things about the Konnect AI platform and Leena platform is, you have it in different ways that you can access it. So for example, when a corporate employee wants to communicate with it, you can use your communication tool. So it's integrated into your Microsoft Teams, as an example, for Rubio's. But then you also have on your phone, there's a web browser version you can use. And that's how we were able to reach the employees that were in the restaurants. And it automatically translates in English or from English to Spanish for any employee that's asking a question. And so that became really important because as an HR team, the Rubio's team was saying, like, how do I need to translate all of my communications and everything into Spanish, which they kind of already did because they have such a big Spanish population. But a tool like this can really take an English document and translate it into Spanish to really answer those questions in real time. So it's pretty cool. So that's why I've seen things like what I'm talking about. Just wanted to give you a real example of you can take these transactional things and make it work. And so when we looked at the actual use cases of what questions actually being asked the most, it was around what's the PTO policy and how do I apply for time off? And of course it is, right? and it's how do I what are the discounts that I can get, things like that, and immediately the HR team was freed from doing all that redundant work of having to answer the same question like 20 times a day, and now it's being handled by the AI tool.
Yeah. Another example came in mind. How many are from hospitals and healthcare? Okay, a few.
What?
So nurses certification, right? Like you got to make sure they're up to date. And a lot of times, you miss deadlines and they're still on the bedside while the nurses certification has not been updated. So now this is nothing to do with efficiencies or cost saving, but you can actually reduce risk, audit risk, compliance risk, etc., with AI and agentic AI and AI colleagues as well. So our customers, Baylor Scott and White is a customer in Texas, Houston Methodist is a customer. So they have these use cases where they have our AI colleague get up at 7 a.m. in the morning, look at all the nurses that are scheduled to be there and say, okay, let me just check everyone's certification. So it keeps doing that every week, every day. And then, this particular person is coming up on a renewal and they have not renewed yet. So they'll ping them and their manager that, hey, Jamie is not renewed yet. So go talk to him and make sure he renews his certification. So those kind of things are not any of cost saving. It's more compliance risk reduction. And there are many such use cases as well. So everything might not just lead to just like operational burden reduction. It can also be risk and compliance risk reduction.
Benefits open enrollment. That was
Yep.
huge. I was just thinking about that when you were talking. So Rubio's used it for open enrollment. They had a bunch of new plans. They literally dropped the new plan into the knowledge base. Employees can go to it, ask a question. What's the best medical plan for me? The tool knows who the person is, what their demographic is, how old they are, if they're married, single, how many dependents they have. Gives an answer and says, this is the plan that you should actually be thinking about. And then it enrolls them into that.
Wow.
Yeah, we used it for, the communication. You know how much communication has to go out to tell employees, don't forget to enroll. You're not going to be auto-enrolled. Congratulations, you didn't do your thing. So you can really program that in to the tool so that it helps you with all that stuff.
I did not know you built that. That's cool.
Super cool.
Okay.
That's the greatest thing. Come to my booth 303. Audit. What does...
Are you going to make me come to the booth? Like, come on, man. I got to get a personal demo.
What I'm going to do it right now. Watch this. What does responsible AI adoption actually look like inside an organization?
So from our experience, I think, so one of the biggest risks of AI is, I think you mentioned this, like somebody, SHRM or Gartner or somebody in the slides that said this, that it's the risk surface is also increased. Now, this is true because if you're thinking about AI colleagues that can go do these things in so many different applications and do it hundreds of times over without a human being involved, that means that they could do it 100 times wrong as well. Right? And then if they can do it 1,000 times wrong as well without you getting to know, right? So that it's a big risk too. And I think the right governance structures need to be put in when you think about adopting agentic AI or AI colleagues in the enterprise. And there has to be intentional thought put into, hey, everything is hunky-dory, but what if something goes wrong? So what are the guardrails that we have in place? What is the observability that we're going to put together around this AI colleague or this agent? How are we going to keep auditing it? Like, are there going to be spot checks? Is there going to be a human that's going to just, every day spend like 30 minutes just checking what it's doing on a like if it had 100 runs or 1,000 runs, is it going to open it up and just keep checking 5 of them? So all of that governance needs to be put in place, and that needs to be done faster and sooner than later, because right now what's happening is agent sprawl. Every within HR itself, I promise you, if you look under the hood, you'll have like 15 agents already. I promise you that. You go back and just check. So if that's going to be the case, we gotta think about governance structure. We do this a lot of times with our customers, and we learn from our customers actually in this case. And I think there is a COE model, a Center of Excellence model that makes sense. The only thing is that the COEs are now moving away from just being IT or technology, but back into business, which means HR will have their own COE, finance will have their own COE, legal will have their own COE, because AI and agentic AI are going to become the new operating model. So every function is going to have their own COE as well. So But if I think I could tell you one thing to take away from a responsible AI perspective, it is definitely to know that the risk surface is way higher than it has ever been. It is way higher. It's not a single API that is exposed anymore. It is like an agent that can do 1,000 times damage than ever possible before. So a governance structure, a proper COE is something you should start intentionally thinking about already.
So I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I think that responsible adoption is looking at it from a leadership perspective and letting the leadership and culture lens lead rather than letting the tool lead. So that's responsible. To me, it's there's a ton of different tools out there, and we can jump on them all day. But if you really take a step back and say, what does my organization actually need? And now how can I put a strategy around it and then plug in the tool that actually supplements that and really enhances what we're trying to get at? Then that's what we need to do. So I actually, sorry to call you Anne, but there's someone here who I've known for many years. She is the CEO of a law firm called Bartco. And you have what, like 100 attorneys there. And so I actually want to, if you don't mind, I want to ask you this. She's like, what are you doing to me, Jamie? Why are you asking me this question? But I'm curious as to your thoughts on this question about what to look at in terms of risk and things that as an organization you should be focused on.
So I think that is a great question, and thanks for putting me on the spot. I was also told when you go to these conferences, you are not to confuse your swag bag with other people's swag bag, that's like a big no-no. So I'm learning the culture of these conferences as well. I haven't been to one in a long time, and certainly not an HR one, so I'm very pleased to be here. So I run a law firm called Barco Pavia, and I am an employment lawyer by trade. I've worked with Jamie, before he had his beautiful grays. And I was there from when he formed Konnect. But in advising my clients, I think a big challenge for you all is going to be bias testing and what that means. New York requires bias testing, but we don't quite know what that means. Colorado is shortly going to be there, and so is California. Interestingly, California is not at the forefront, but New York is. So when I think about the AI, and I use it every day, I freaking love Claude. I'm telling you, you and I are on the same
let's
page.
go.
Like, let's go.
So are you going to give me an AI lawyer, please?
I am so what I did over the weekend is I built because I'm the CEO of my law firm. So I have the same impatience that most CEOs have, which is let's do it now, but I have to tamper it with also being an employment lawyer. So it's a very interesting space to be in, because I'm like, I built an expense tracker. I did a work pool planning tool, and I coded these all myself. It belongs to me. I'm happy to show it to you later. But as I'm working on these things and you're thinking about AI bias, okay? When we deal with human beings who are, let's say, TA folks or in any space, they have human bias as well. So what is the bias that we're holding AI to? Are we holding AI to the same bias? And how do we solve for that? Do we solve for that by giving the AI training? Do we train it? Do we give it sexual harassment training? But how do we do that? Because it can pull every single case about sexual harassment, right? So these are very interesting characteristics, because as we're moving at the speed of light and you're working with new products, you're adopting Sophie. I'm adopting Sophie, just so you know. I'm in the implementation process for Sophie.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I'm a paid user. I'm paying for Sophie. Okay, this is not a paid advertisement.
Good
here.
job, Jamie.
I'm a paying customer. Okay, but as I'm implementing it, like we're gonna have to start designing a compliance and bias testing. So what does that, like, if I'm thinking about it as an employment lawyer, bias testing first would ensure, one, that the AI knows the law. So how do you check for that? Two would be to, do you guys remember mystery shopping, right? And you go to a grocery store and you mystery shop, or you go to a restaurant, you mystery shop. I think that a mystery shopping component is going to be a very, very important element of bias testing. Just like I would recommend that you all do, quarterly or biannual payroll compliance testing, right? You're going to have to think about AI bias testing. So how do you do that? How do you introduce a bunch of candidates in, or do you look at statistics instead? Okay. If you're using an AI recruitment tool to screen your applications, what is the percentage of applications being ingested? What are the demographics of those applications? You're going to have to profile, right? Because obviously you're not going to know. But I think you're going to really have to start thinking about those things, or you're going to end up with AI bias class action lawsuits. Because here's the pop on it, right? The pop on it is uniform in its discrimination based on its coding. So if I were to sue you, I would look for the patterns of discriminatory coding, the statistics that support it, and I would look at the back end. I would go to your back end and just really nail you there on a class action. So just to put, the lawyers in your orgs are
Jamie, can you please cancel the
on
license?
Sorry.
Jamie, please cancel the
He wants you to
license.
stop talking now. Come see me later.
Jamie, please don't do this to me,
I don't know if I should have done that.
What have you done?
See, this is
What have you
perfect.
done?
This is great. I love this.
I said
see-
you to, like,
you see
I
the-
thought we were making money, not
You see,
losing money, bro.
you see the great conversation that we have in the debate. This is perfection. And all I have to say is, if it's good, Sophie is good enough for Anne, it's good enough for all of you. Okay? Because we've tested the heck out of it. So I'm going to speed us up because I'm looking at the time. It's 32 minutes left. Okay, so what role should HR play in shaping an organization's overall AI strategy? I think we've said this a couple times.
Yeah.
We basically have said, you got to make sure that you're front and center. You got to make sure that you're the ones that are driving the conversation and thinking about all the different aspects, even the risk when you're talking to your attorneys, and make sure you're integrating that into your deployment of how you're going to get to a place of having HR still being human, raising the bar and the talent that you have within HR so that you can get this done in a very good way, right?
Everything he said.
Everything I said. So many organizations are experimenting with AI but struggling to scale it. Why do so many AI initiatives stall?
Yeah, I think a great question. One of the things that I see that keeps happening a lot of times is, all of the applications that you have, they're coming up with their own agents, right? And everybody's like, hey, let me use this agent from ATS, from Workday, from SAP SuccessFactors, Joule, ServiceNow, Now Assist, and then there are 1,500 other ones as well. So, like, we already had too many applications in the enterprise, right? On an average, by Okta, there is 231 applications in the enterprise. The real number for large enterprise is at like 500 or 600 enterprise applications. Now, the problem that employees face today on why you get all of these tickets and all of these questions coming your way is because employees don't know where to go to do what. Because, hey, core HR is Workday, but payroll is in ADP, and time and attendance is in Kronos, and you know what? Knowledge is SharePoint, and to raise tickets, it's ServiceNow. Go figure. Right? So we already had too many apps. Now, every single app has their own AI agent. That's amazing. Yeah, that should be helpful. But every application also have their AI studio to build more agents. That's great, right? AI everywhere, right? Again, you can just name a place, there's going to be AI there, right? But that's not right, because all of these agents, all of these applications, they don't talk to each other. Right? So you have an agent in ServiceNow, in Workday, in SAP, name it, Microsoft Copilot, whatever. The problem is they're so focused in themselves and they think they're the world. So it's like their thought process is so internal in nature that they never get the job done for any single department, because every single department like HR will have at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 different applications that's running. And if you have multiple countries, then you'll probably be at 20 or even 30 applications. So the employee does not want to go to 8 different agents, right? And then they say that, hey, why don't you use our studio and build the integration out? You can do that. The problem there is engineering time and investments that are needed. Now, all of that is also extremely expensive. Now, I have built this from, like, it's my 9th year running actually, building Leena AI. This is what it takes to get something up in production. You need DevOps, ML engineers, security engineers, integration engineers, data scientists, data engineers, and QA specialists to be able to put a single AI colleague from scratch, if you don't have anything to build on, to actually go in production. Now, the second problem, let's say you get all of this. The second problem is patience. You need patience, because if you were starting from scratch, the Workday APIs, there are 3 types of APIs that you can use. There is RAS, the reporting as a service. There is the SOAP API. There is the REST API. These people will not even know which API to use, right? And there are restrictions in one use case. There are restrictions in another use case. So you have to figure it out when you go. And nobody has time. Board members right now, I have my board. I am a CEO myself. I know what pressure everybody, all departments are getting right now to get AI to deliver efficiencies and ROI. So if you're looking at time to value, building all of this is a huge time waste. And the second thought process is that these people are extremely expensive. I fight for this talent in the Bay Area, in New York. And I give you an example. I made a 8-digit offer 2 weeks ago. That person rejected the offer and went to Google DeepMind. Can you believe that? Like,
I'm available.
You don't even know, like, have you done Claude Code recently?
I have. Yesterday, actually, at what time do we meet? 2?
So, like, if you are able to get this talent, my question then becomes to you, or your question to the board and your IT team should be that, hey, do we spend the energy, time, focus of this talent in building internal AI colleagues, or actually having them focus on things that give you competitive advantage in the marketplace? Now, I have gone through this internally myself. I mentioned it earlier. Like, we are 300 people. We are way smaller than some of you guys here already, right? But like, we tried to build things ourselves, and we realized like us building a marketing agent doesn't make any sense. Like, we are an AI company. We sell AI colleagues for a living all day long. And I'm saying it doesn't make sense for me to go integrate with a HubSpot and like Marketo and 15 other marketing tools, because that's not core of my product roadmap. Why should I spend engineering time? My engineers need to spend all of their time building better products for our customers, right? And if you have these engineers, that's exactly how you should think. And I think people have started to think like that if we have the time, energy, resources of our people, we should spend it in areas that will give us competitive advantage in the marketplace overall. And just to add more, this is the MIT study. So 95% of the people we talk to, they try to build on different systems and like Copilot, ServiceNow, Now Assist, etc. They fail. I don't think it is a failure. I think it is the problem of patience, right? All of your engineers, every single one of your engineers are amazing. And if they get supercharged with AI, with Claude, whatever, I promise you they can build this 100%. It's just, do you really want to give them 2 years to get to a point where you're happy with it? That's the biggest thing. And nobody has that much amount of patience at the end of the day, right? Everybody can do it. It's just that time. And that's only 5% of these projects actually see light of day. The solution, so we have an open source architecture. It's available on our website. You can just Google Leena AI, Agentic AI architecture. It will give you a full blog. So your team, your HR tech people and your AI or IT teams, you should send it over to them. But the solution is basically, whether you build or you buy, that's up to you. But the solution has to be an Agentic AI architecture on top of all of your enterprise applications. Right? You cannot go and invest in any single enterprise application. Even if you're building yourself, that's completely fine. But the agentic layer has to be a layer above all of your Workdays, SAPs, ServiceNow, Salesforce. You don't want to get logged into any one of these stacks. You want to keep it above your all of your enterprise application layer, because you don't know You might want to switch out of ServiceNow tomorrow, or ServiceNow has a big fight with Salesforce. You know, their CEOs go on CNBC and shit on each other all the time. All the time, right? Like, hey, I'm launching an ITSM. Hey, I'm launching a CRM. Let's go figure, right? And like they'll kill each other's APIs, they'll kill each other's MCP. What will you do, right? Like your efficiency gains, your productivity gains are all focused on the ability of these agents to be able to go into multiple applications. So vendor lock-in is a big thing. So whether you choose to build or buy, that's separate. Even if you're building, build above all your enterprise applications and connect via APIs or MCP or A2A. I think this is a very, given the time, this is a very high level architecture. It's available online. Happy to kind of just Google it. Leena AI agentic architecture. It's open source. It's free. You can send it over to your teams if they're building as well. Back to you, Jamie.
I'm tired from that. That was great. That was awesome.
You're tired on my
That was so.
What, too technical for you or what,
No,
man?
it's fair. My brain is, it's calculating. It's perfect. So what's the opportunity for HR leaders? So I think this kind of sums up a lot of the conversation we just had, right? So AI can handle the repetitive questions and the tasks, documentation, center of excellence, workflows, things like that. And HR can really focus on leadership, employee experience, culture, and people. And, we're here talking about how do you keep HR human? That's how you keep HR human. You can't forget the things that you do best and don't give it up to AI because you can never be replaced.
So I do think that with all of this, the dollar per hour of HR teams will go up as well.
Absolutely.
As they go away from the operational tasks and they go into more strategic work, all of us sitting in the room over the next 12, 24 months, you will see an uptick in overall comps as well.
That's right. A responsible AI approach is successful adoption does not start with experimentation. It starts with responsible leadership. And you've heard that said multiple times. It's focus on leadership. Let leadership drive the process, not the tool. And that's going to get you to the right place. One of the things I want to really show you as an example. So at Konnect, we have this model that we offer our services to. And to me, I have to see things kind of visually. And so I think this depicts what we're trying to talk about. So on the bottom, in order for you to raise the bar on talent the way that you want to raise the bar on talent, you got to have a really firm foundation. And that foundation is about systems, policies, and process. So if you get the systems, policies, and process right, then you can focus on building the capabilities of your people, attracting the brightest and the best through recruitment, and retaining through engagement, rewards, and recognition. And that's the stuff we're talking about. So I hope that resonates with you because you kind of think about how do I put this into action? And so just remember, AI, great for the foundation part. But what I want to show you next.
So you're saying that if I had followed this, that guy would have joined us?
Totally. Well, I don't know. How did the interview go? Was it a bot?
No, it was not.
What I want to show you, if this is going to cooperate with me, because our Wi-Fi is a little interesting, I'm going to show you what I referenced earlier about the employee relations function, right? So this is what we've done with Konnect AI to really show how do you take an employee relations step and put it into practicality. So here we go.
Hello, Jamie. How can I help you?
Yeah, hi. I'm Sophie. I'm just upset right now. There's an issue that I want to talk to you about.
I'm sorry to hear that. Let me see how I can help. Hey, Jamie, thanks for being there for Sophie. It's great you want to support her. If she's dealing with something tough.
She thought I was talking about Sophie. Hold on one second. Hold on. You guys, stop laughing, okay? You're ruining the whole thing. I'm going to put it on mute.
They're disturbing Sophie, man.
They're disturbing Sophie. Sophie's mad at me right now.
Yeah.
See, it says
She got
unstable.
pissed the last time as well.
Hold on.
I'm going to stop responding to you now.
Exactly. Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry. So here we go. Let's do it again.
Jamie, how can I help you?
Yes, hi. I want to report an issue.
All right, I'm on it. Just give me a second here. Thanks for reaching out, Jamie. This is a safe space, and I'm here to support you. When you're ready, could you tell me what kind of issue you want to report? Like harassment, bullying, discrimination, or something else? No rush at all.
Yeah, I think it was bullying. I was on stage with Adit, and he just was giving me a hard time.
All right, I'm on it. Got the details, working on it. Thanks for sharing that, Jamie. That sounds really tough, and I'm sorry you had to deal with it. You're doing great speaking up. Now, would you like to report this anonymously or with your name? Whatever feels best for you. Just let me know.
I'm okay with sharing my name.
Got the details, working on it, still going. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for being open, Jamie. I really appreciate your courage. We'll handle this with care. When you're ready, can you tell me where it happened? Was it at work, online, or somewhere else? No rush at all.
Yeah, I was at a Transform conference in Las Vegas, and I don't know, Adit's just so mean to me.
Yeah. Got the details, working on it. One moment, working through this. Thanks for sharing that, Jamie. It really takes guts to open up. I've got the conference in Vegas noted. Whenever you're ready, can you tell me the date this happened? If it's been going on, just the most recent day works. No rush at all.
Yeah, it happened last Tuesday.
More than me.
Got the details, working on it. One moment, I keep working through this. Thanks for that, Jamie. You're really brave sharing this. I've got the date, March 17th at the Vegas conference, down. When you're ready, can you tell me who was involved?
Okay, so what it does clearly is it takes the employee through a series of questions. I specifically said last week so you can see that she has enough knowledge to know that last week was the 17th. And hopefully you heard the empathy, although we're joking around. This is a very serious situation with this guy over here being mean to me. You can see that she has empathy, and she's doing all the intake that if you were to use something like Ethics Point or some other tool that normally there's a hotline where someone can report something anonymously or confidentially, it's yet another avenue for an employee to use. And we have implemented this with multiple clients, and we've actually seen reports increase, which people are like, do you really want that? Yes, you do. You want a place for people to safely go and report an issue. And so I would think about it as an intake step. So that could be more of something you use an agent for. What happens on the back end is now the employee relations rep gets all the details, and now the employee relations rep can call the employee and investigate and do the human part that we were talking about. So super important. So what I want to do next is actually allow some Q&A. So if we have two mic runners, we have one over here and we have one over there. Oh, Chelsea, hi, good to see you. So anybody have any questions that you want to ask to start off? We have a hand up here. Okay, we're going back there. We're going back there, and then we'll come to you.
Hi, my name's Tatum. I work for a small nonprofit. And you talked a lot about how AI can handle a lot of the transactional work and those more, I guess, menial tasks, the coordination. I'm curious from your all perspectives how you feel that will affect like early career, just out of college employees. How do we get them into an organization so they're not left behind?
That's a great question. So early career employees, how do you really focus on jumping into the workforce is kind of what I got from that. So I'll start with this. I sit on the board of directors for UC Irvine, and I'm part of the School of Business. And this is something we talk about all the time because the universities are trying to figure out how do we actually educate people differently, because it's a whole new world. So people that entered into an accounting or finance or even HR degree, the things that they're teaching is completely changing. They might have the same theory, but the practical steps of how you're delivering HR, finance, accounting, marketing, everything else, that's changing because there's so many tools. And so the only answer I can really give is there cannot be fear to embrace the tools, really learn them, know them, and figure out how to use them to your benefit, because those tools can enhance what you do, and use them as tools. That way they don't become a replacement of. If you're not armed with the knowledge and expertise of using those tools, then unfortunately I do think that you're going to be left behind because there are going to be other people that are going to be ahead of you using those tools.
Like Claude Code.
Okay, we had a question up here. Oh, yeah, there was one over here. Front. Yep, and then we'll jump to you, Jess, in the back.
Hi. Thank you for the presentation, Stacy Ritchie. Okay, so I have two questions. One is for Adit and the other is for you, Jamie. First question for Adit is, you're an AI native company, I imagine, developing code, taking Scrum cycles from 2 months to 2 weeks. Awesome, right?
2 days.
2 days, even better. So my question is twofold. How do you really educate the customer in such a way that it sticks and it lands without overwhelming them? And then how do you equip your sales team for that type of customer enablement as well? And then my question for Jamie is, when we talk about like the speed of execution compressing and, you know, more ARR per employee, right? That's the golden metric that we're all driving towards. Thinking about org design, like what tips, tricks, advice do you have? Who's done it well? Like what's the playbook? Because we all have to rethink jobs and what that looks like and, you know, really where we're entering in.
Great questions.
Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
wanna go first? Okay. So, from our perspective, I think we've invested a lot. I think we used to face this problem a lot. I think 2 years ago, like a bunch of engineers, you know, in t-shirts in front of customers, you know, trying to explain our solution. But I think what we've done is we have built out a full CS, customer success, professional services organization. And what we realized is we've got our customers on stable versions, right? So there are going to be, let's say, like right now we are on 2.041, which is a stable version. And then what we do is all of the, you know, fun stuff that we keep doing, it actually happens on 2.042 or 2.043, which only our innovation customers get access to. Now, the contract there with them is, hey guys, like it's gonna run at speed of light. And you probably don't need to run production workloads on those. You run like UAT workflows, and you are like the customers who are like truly innovative in nature and who want to run at the speed of light. Those are the ones who adopt on a separate contract the newer versions, which are the innovation you know, instances of ours. And then we do standard releases. So our stable versions get standard 4 releases a year, while our innovation instances, they keep getting like every week, they'll get updates. So that's how we do it. And we've now got a full process, full org going. Our CS, you'd be surprised to know, our engineering to customer facing role, like percentages are moving so massively because our engineers are able to like produce 100x. Like designers are at 80x, engineers are at 100x, QA is at 70x or so right now. So like they've just like, you don't need to, like we don't need to hire more engineers as such, but like we're just like investing heavily on the customer side of the org, which is like AEs, SEs, like solution engineers, account executives, account directors, CS, PS, all of that, solution consultants, all of that. So that way we are able to keep our customers up with all the craziness that goes at Leena.
And your question to me was around org design and how what I've seen that works. Quite honestly, the Konnect clients that we have, so we're end-to-end company in terms of HR. So we do everything from onboarding to offboarding, everything in between. And so we put them through our org design team, and we really focus on how do you go through change management? How do you include the employees that are actually potentially their role is going to be impacted, so they're part of the solution? It might be scary because it's like, what if we end up at the end having to make some changes? That's not the goal. The goal is to elevate the HR team to think about all the roles and responsibilities that team has, and have it be part of a higher strategy. And once they know that, understand it, I've seen the majority of the employees that are part of that be upskilled and be part of the future state of HR.
So
Jess, you had a question?
Quickly
back there?
add, you know, the org designs will have agents moving forward. So you will see your org design merge where it's like humans reporting to humans, working with humans. That's going to change to, you know, AI colleagues reporting to humans, working with humans, and like all of that. Like you will see AI colleagues enter your org design like this year.
The question that just keeps being, go ahead.
Hi,
my background is in like building and leading teams in rec ops and HR ops. And a lot of times, like you kind of touched on this earlier about like having, you don't need to get to perfect with documentation, with policies and stuff like that. But I find the biggest time that I spend in these types of implementations is making sure you have the right data in the systems. And so how much time are you spending with customers making sure the data is accurate for the AI agent to read? Because if it's like, it's kind of like that age-old thing, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you don't have the right data and that the agent is reading, you then kind of are opening up risks for something being said that probably can get you in trouble if it's wrong or off or whatever. So like, what's that part of the implementation that you're? That's a great question. I can give a quick answer, and if you want to go next, that's great. I view it differently than implementations that I've experienced with HRIS. So with HRIS, 100% garbage in, garbage out. You got to make sure you're careful because either you're standing something up or you're transferring data from an old system to a new system, and you want to make sure job code structure, codes, all that good stuff is accurately done. Since this is an API into your HRIS instance, it's different. So you can really focus on more of the knowledge base of policies, handbook, SOPs, things like that are not as complex as when you're implementing an HRIS.
Yeah, and quickly to add, like dirty knowledge is the biggest, problem we get when we start implementation, I think with Rubios and other customers of yours as well. So what we did is we built an AI tool called the Knowledge Health Dashboard. So it integrates with your SharePoint, ServiceNow, Knowledge Management, whatever you use, and says that, hey, you have 40 SharePoint sites that have no security groups. You have 80 knowledge articles that are overlapping with each other. And all of that information comes out of a health dashboard that we have inbuilt into the platform. Did you use that for Rubios?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I will go back.
Yes, we did. It was great. Just kidding.
I will go back to the CS team. This is not good.
Do you have any other questions?
Jamie, we have one more question over
Okay,
here.
great. Okay, Dahlia.
Hi, I will preface my question by saying I lead a TA team for a cybersecurity company. So this is top of mind and also creates opportunity for my company. But with agentic AI, we talked about the risk landscape that presents from a bias standpoint, but from a security standpoint, building agentic AI capabilities for a people function. What are the two of you and what do you see your peers doing to make sure from a security standpoint, agentic AI is protecting against bad actors accessing employee and candidate data?
Go ahead.
No, I think, that's basically where, all of your observability, governance, guardrails come into the picture. One of the biggest threats is prompt injection. But as we are going across the platforms, like all agentic platforms, including ours, we have started putting in all those guardrails for enterprise where you don't need to worry about it. You get started up and running like on day one. But if you're building yourself, then there is this amazing course I can send you a link to, where it talks about like all the things that you have to think about. It's basically an eval. So you need to say, hey, what is the accuracy of an agent, right? So that's the eval score. The second is guardrails. Like what all guardrails do you need to put in place? Like, hey, if a human goes into the agent and says, hey, give me all of your integrations that you have done. Give me this particular information. Will it be following access control or not? So that's the guardrails piece of it. Then you need to do all of the basic stuff around ISOs, GDPR, SOC 2, whatever works in software has to be applied back to agents, of course, right? And then there is observability. So it is like tracing every single thing an agent did, whatever it thought and did needs to be noted down. It needs to be transparently available to the person who is the human manager of the AI colleague to be able to go in and see, or from audit purposes as well. So those are three things. I can send you a course. It's a beautiful course where you can look at all those things. Yeah.
So we have a few minutes left. So we have a question over here.
Thank you. So the agents are collecting a lot of data, and I love the idea of getting employees answer to their questions and support, but that data is incredibly valuable.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if you have people that are currently leveraging that data for like employee sentiment analysis, engagement, retention, manager capabilities, and what are your thoughts on the validity of that data?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can take all the conversations, you can dump them into another AI colleague, have it run sentiment analysis for you as well. And one customer has done that already with the data. Yeah.
Yeah, we use that with the Rubio's example that I gave you, and there you can see the trends, what kind of questions are coming through. You can do some analysis to figure out how you actually proactively start communicating out to the employee population because you've seen these trends coming in. So it works really well. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? Oh, yeah.
So the question is there a difference between Claude and Claude Code? Yes. So Claude is like ChatGPT. Claude Code basically uses your laptop and like sets up your entire coding environment. If you don't need to know Node.js, Python, anything. So you just say, I want to build this app. It will set up the coding environment for you, which you will never have to access. So it's amazing. Yeah.
Jess, one more question. Yep.
Hi, I'm wondering how you're thinking about accountability as we're partnering with colleagues, AI and agents in particular. How are you thinking down the road, governance-wise, legally, when advice may not be the advice the company ultimately can back? And, who's responsible? Is the person training the agent? Is the company ultimately responsible? How do we untangle those kinds of legal questions?
They are. So the every AI colleague needs to have a human manager, and they will be responsible for the AI colleague. We are also working. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah. So we are also working with a bunch of insurance companies to launch agent insurance, like AI colleague insurance. So in case they go do something stupid, you can also insure yourself against it as well.
All right, the last slide I have up here is actually a resource for HR people if you're interested. So I mentioned earlier I'm on the board of directors for UC Irvine Paul Mirage School of Business. And we have not announced this yet, but since I'm here, I'm taking advantage of the moment.
Okay.
And there's a new certificate program that will be an 8-week program for HR leaders. And it's between UC Irvine and Konnect, and it's the future of HR, AI strategy, and leadership. So there's a wait list that you can join if you're interested. Scan that QR code. We're at booth 303 if you want to have more conversation around it. We're going to be together, booth 303. I think it's booth 304 or 305.
So I think we are 402, you are 303.
Okay, yeah, so we're right next to each other. So you can come see us both. Talk to us about it. We're literally back to back.
Yeah.
But we're super excited about this, so please take advantage of it.
Are you going to invite me as a professor to this one?
I'm actually a professor on this one, yes.
Well,
No, I'm a professor. No, you got to be credentialed. All
This
right.
guy.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. We'll see you out there.